So the best piece of advice that really helped me with my first book was an author said to me that just write for 15 minutes a day. And that's the advice that got me through the first book. I think it's the idea that just always keep it in your mind that you need to schedule that time in for writing daily or as soon as you can, really. So it is just keep writing at the forefront of your mind and make sure you do prioritize time to get those words up because you'll feel a lot better for it.
Welcome to Raising Baby Authors. I'm Kasia, your host and a brand new writer. If you feel overwhelmed and lost about this whole writing thing, you're certainly not alone. Join me while I pester my author guests for writing advice and find out how they do it. Because if they could, then why not you? It truly takes a village to raise an author, so let me share my village with you. Hello, dear listener, and welcome back to the classroom. Thank you so much for giving me your time and attention for the second season of Raising Baby Authors podcast. And I am super happy to introduce you to my new guest. This is a friend of the podcast, author Kayleigh Evans. Welcome.
Thank you for having me on.
Hi. So happy to have you. Before we go into any conversation, because we have a lot to discuss, can you please introduce yourself and what you're writing for our listeners?
Yeah, of course. So I'm Kayleigh Evans and I'm an author from South Wales. I write in women's fiction and I'm currently trying to finalise my trilogy called Serendipity Valley, which is based on the valley where I live.
Wow. Okay. So we can maybe spend 5 minutes to tell the listeners about the event that we've been to yesterday, just to kind of have a little bit of a
Yes.
tangent there. And yeah, so we visited, well, I visited from Belgium. So that was like a bit of a weekend for me. So we visited Meet Cute Book Fest, right? That's the full name
Yeah,
of it.
that's right.
Yeah, so that is I don't even know how to describe it. It's not a author festival, it's not a reader festival. It's like all together.
It's a bit of a both. It kind of brings authors and readers and aspiring writers together all in the same place, really. And it was really relaxing, the vibes. It was really chilled. It was very hot.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I've
hot.
got very, it's not visible here, but I burned my arms basically
Yeah,
pretty
I
badly.
think you can still see the wrist strap. Yeah, and I burnt all my shoulders as well on one of the talks. Yeah, it was super warm, but it was really informative. All the different shows. There was hardly any time to stop and look at the little bits and eat because there were so many interesting talks going on, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was super nice. And there's not that many bookish events around, like in Europe, definitely. In UK, maybe there is a bit more. I'm not sure, but yeah.
There's quite a few kind of book festivals, indie book fairs, and do happen frequently through the years, but they kind of spread out. They're few and far between, so everyone kind of holds to the same kind of event. So that was a really different event to attend where you could just relax, talk, network without the kind of thought of, oh, I need to sell my book, I need to do this, have I forgot that? It's really
Yeah.
nice to almost be a guest.
Yeah, I think you could do anything there. It felt like just like a giant networking event. So you can,
Yeah.
if you're an author, you can meet other authors, or you can meet readers, or you can meet, there were marketing people there, PR companies, and audiobook narrators. So like you can meet, if you're a reader and you have favorite authors, you can meet them. You can talk to other readers, and yeah, it was, I don't know, it was super nice. I've only been to signings before, and it was very different kind of vibe from just the signings.
Yeah, the vibe was really good there.
Yeah. Okay. So, general question in the beginning, how did you start writing? When did you start writing? Why did you start writing?
Okay, so I've written for most of my life. I've always loved creative writing. I think a lot of writers are the same, usually starts at a young age. I was always secretive about my writing, though. I remember printing off my work and pretending it was for English class when it was just for me to read my stories. But my husband's in a band and he'd have loads of time where he was being creative. And I thought, oh, why don't I take the plunge? Why don't I tell people I write? Why don't I meet other writers and learn how to write more effectively or to share it, really, and like get the confidence to share it. So I started a writing group locally to me to see there were other writers in the area that I could learn off, engage with, and it's been a really big success. So that was in 2020. By 2020, and I published my first novel because of all the wonderful authors and writers I met in my local community. So
Wow.
quite an adventure.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
super nice. I mean, we talk
yeah.
often about like finding a community, and I see on Facebook a lot of people asking like everybody talks about I'm this in my writer group, that in my writer group. How do you find a writer group? So you didn't even find it. You created it
No, I
yourself.
started one.
How did you do it? Like how'd you find people?
So well, the power of Facebook predominantly. There's a local cafe, it's a bilingual cafe, and it's brilliant. I'm not very good at pronouncing the name. I mentioned it to the owner and said, I'm thinking of doing this. And she was like, oh, that'd be brilliant. And she helped advertise to say that a writing group would be starting up. So little posters up in the window. And I created a Facebook group sharing it with all the local hubs. And yeah, I had people turning up. And it was quite nerve wracking that first day, introducing myself and kind of trying to set the scene and what I wanted to get from it, gauging what other people wanted to get from the group. But it's been going ever since, and we keep having people join. Some people do kind of drift away if they're just curious about writing, but it's gone from strength to strength, and we're all kind of really committed to work on the craft now, because it's really easy when you're with other writers to kind of go off onto tangents about books and networking, but it's been really helpful to me, definitely.
Okay. I think I have a couple more questions about the writing group actually because
Yeah, of course.
it's just really interesting because I think sometimes it's hard to find people that are on the same level. I'm not saying craft level,
Yeah.
but on the same level of motivation as you, for example, so that you
Yes.
could kind of
Yeah.
motivate each other. Somebody just
Yeah.
writing for fun, but they also want to do writing group, but then they won't be someone who would really be committed. So you had to maybe
Yeah.
like choose people or something?
No, it's a community group, so it is open to anyone. And you can get those disparities in commitment levels, motivation. But what we find is when people come to the group, we started off with just a general update, what we're working on. We kind of workshop our own work with each other. We do like a little writing task, or we set ourselves a writing task to go away with. But what we find is the people who are there who are maybe struggling to do some writing, or are just writing for fun, we all kind of come away from there thinking, oh, I really want to write now. We're
Mm-hmm.
almost disappointed that we can't have more time to just get the writing done. So the next time we come back together, then often the people who would think, oh, I haven't got much time, I can't fit it in, they're like, I wrote, I did this. And for
Okay.
those who kind of come to group and, oh, I haven't squeezed it in, we'll kind of say, okay, we'll just do this bit and we'll write in the session then. So you kind of companion, like doing it in company. And it's really nice then to just kind of know what others there kind of supporting you and motivating you. And we kind of cheerlead each other in that sense. We just, yeah, how many words you're going to do by the next time? And they kind of have that in the back of their mind then. They're almost accountable to each other. Well, we're all
Hmm.
accountable to each other. Yeah, and it's the same with book fairs. Like if a few of us, some people are not very confident with going to book fairs, but knowing you have that company and you have that network to say, oh, this event is going on, I've had this idea. And one of the fellow writers in my writing group, Rebecca, she's actually planning to have an anthology, so we can all include our pieces of writing from the task. So yeah, we're really collaborative with the writing group. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. It's
Yeah.
just it's really interesting because my group had a very different kind of mindset. So we also are like committed, motivational. We are really trying to motivate each other to write, but we don't really write during the session. We do, I think, like maybe 5 minutes of a little prompt, just like to I don't know warm up.
Yeah.
But then always we have two people, well, supposed to have two people that would send the work before, like 3 days before the meeting,
Oh,
of
okay.
about like 2,000 words. And we would be reading it. And then we would be like going in a circle and discussing. So, like, it's a feedback sort of thing. So for
Yeah.
us, it was that.
Yeah. Yeah, that it. I think a lot of working groups do, the writing groups do work like that. But for us, I think because we all really enjoy the writing and we want it to remain as a fun thing rather than as something that you kind of dread doing. So we are really flexible with it. Like some people in the group, they like to prioritize kind of workshop in their own work rather than doing the writing task. So if people say, oh, I'm not really up for doing a writing task today, but I want somebody to help me with this, we'll kind of split off into like different groups in the cafe, just move tables, where some will work on the writing tasks to then workshop, and the others will just go over their own manuscript, and others will workshop with them. And so it is kind of really flexible, free for all, and you kind of pick and choose. But it works nice like that because there's no pressure. It takes off that kind of not so nice side of writing, I guess, where you've got to kind of get it done, but you are being proactive in the sense that you're there, you're writing. And I think once you're in that free flow mindset, it makes it easier to write. So you are meeting your
Mhm.
goals just in a different motivational way, I guess.
Okay. Okay. Well, and so the activity you did in the writing group kind of motivated you to publish your book then.
Yeah, so when I went to the writing group, there was a bit of a mix of people. There were people who had published, self-published, and I was also organising author talks, or other local authors to the areas. I was inviting them to come in to chat to us as new writers and readers. You know, it gives them an opportunity to showcase their work as well as us learn from them. So there was a mix of traditionally published authors, self-published authors, and brand new writers. So I kind of got to see the differences between the both. Like speaking to traditionally published authors, you know, the royalties weren't as good as self-published authors. The creative control wasn't really the same. So, and for me, who didn't know, I thought publishing was just you had to be like super special to get published. Like it
But
was
yeah.
impossible, really. I'd never met an author before I started the writing groups. To have this whole world open up in front of me with other local authors, I got to learn about publishing, and okay, this could be an achievable goal, publishing the work that I put my heart and soul into, you know? So I kind of explored the traditional publishing in the sense of I just did research, but I think I was drawn more to the self-publishing where you had more creative control, you had ownership over your work, copyrights, etc. Yeah, I was really lucky. One of the authors who came to the group, he's worked in publishing, he's very experienced. He's also my editor. I'm very lucky to have him edit my books too, but he's given me a wealth of wisdom in terms of publishing. So yeah, that's how I kind of just took all his advice. I was there with my notebook every time he spoke. And yeah, I published my first book in the series. And yeah.
Okay, but so that means you already had it written by then. So when did you start writing it, and like how did you get the idea?
Yeah. I probably started writing it off and on for about a year, 2 years prior. So
Mhm.
I'd have ideas for scenes, but I had the idea. I was in my nan's back garden actually. She lives on one side of the valley, and you can see the opposite side and how the kind of river and the train track flows down. And I just kind of thought, Romeo and Juliet moment. What if the girl lives on this side of the valley, the boy lives on the farm opposite? But what if they were friends? What if they never kind of got together? And I just kept asking myself these what ifs, and these scenes would start coming into my head, and I just would write them down. So it was a case of piecing it all together really when it came to going to writing group and working on my draft.
Okay. So yeah, it's always nice to hear how people get their ideas. They come from so many different places and like
Yes, they
situations.
do.
But
They
then,
do.
I mean, it's a whole ass book. So like, how did you make it into a coherent story? Did you plot it? What was the process?
So I think during all my experience from a reader, I'm a big romance reader. I love romance books, but at the end of each one that I read, I'm always disappointed that I can never see the characters again. I'm never going to know where they go unless it's a series, but ultimately it ends. So I thought to myself, I want to make a story that doesn't end really. It will eventually end, of course, like all good stories do, but I wanted to do it whereas the characters were young, new adults. They kind of how they kind of become adults, like so that journey of making those big decisions that lead you into being an adult. And then I wanted to have a book, so that's the third book, where they're adults and they kind of guiding the next generation or seeing how their influences, their decisions have influenced the younger generation and how, okay, my mother did this, I'm going to do that instead, you know? So I thought that would be a really good, and I kind of I've plotted it out in that sense, but they're only loosely plotted in my head. It sounds crazy. I'd love to be able to plan my books. I'd love to be able to plot, but I can only kind of plot certain and like have a bullet point of, okay, this needs to happen, that needs to happen. But then the characters do their own things when I'm writing the story. So sometimes I can get so wrapped up in the plotting that I can overthink things, and it kind of takes away from the natural flow of where the characters' journeys are actually going to take me. So I am I'm a bit of a mix of a plotter and a pantser. I've got the general ideas and the plot ideas kind of there, but how I get there is kind of tangled.
Okay, well, in that case, I think a natural question would be, how does your like first draft looks like? Is it like, I don't know, do you write a clean draft or you really like allow yourself to do whatever you want?
I allow myself to do wherever I want. Yeah, I'd like to say it's messy, but I'm terrible. I can just write straight into the computer, but I feel like my best work is when I've just got my notebook and I just kind of let myself loose. But I usually do. So my first draft is literally in a notebook. I think for my first book, it was over multiple notebooks, which was a little bit of a nightmare. But for this third book, at least, I've stuck to one notebook. So I'll write a scene and then I'll write another scene. I might like add little notes to myself to like remember at the back of the notebook. So, okay, I need to add this bit in. I need to do a scene for this to like prompt myself on the next one. But I work my way through it scene by scene, adding like little notes in the back where I know I need to add chapters in when the time comes. And that's how I do my first draft. And then the second draft is then putting it in onto the laptop, onto the Word document, trying to get it all loose. And then the third draft then is me going through. I have a break from that second draft. Like I'll have a week or two, give myself a little holiday, and then I'll go back to it with my editor's hat on and usually cut it down a lot because I am an overwriter. I
Yeah.
include far too many details sometimes, yeah. But yeah, I think it's always better to overwrite than to write sometimes because at least it's a delete button rather than having to think up new sentences.
Okay. Well, I think I might have been wrong, but I might be wrong, but I think you're the first author who writes the first drafts in a notebook by hand
Oh,
that I
really?
know.
That's
Yeah,
good.
I don't think anybody told me that. I mean, there's no such thing as like correct or good, or it's like
No.
whatever works for you, right? Like if it works for
Yeah.
you. I honestly myself, I really really like to write by hand.
Yes.
I keep all the notebooks with me, but I resist writing actual scenes by hand because one, I would hate to sit and retype it all because to me it's, I don't know, I would need maybe a reader or like an app or something that would do it for me. And second, my, how to explain this, so my handwriting is horrible because my brain is faster than my hand. And
Yeah.
so I'm thinking and I'm writing and I'm like, okay. And then I'm
Yeah.
reading it back and like, what the did I mean? Like, I don't understand what this is at all. And I don't finish words. I skip things and then I don't understand
Yeah.
what's going on. So yeah, I would love to, but I think I take my notebook and I write like to-do lists or something like that. I really love to do like
Yeah.
to-do lists. But then
Yeah.
unfortunately, writing has to happen on a laptop, even though it's not my favorite thing to do. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why my first draft is in a notebook because I think when it's just flowing directly from your brain to your hand, it does flow. There are the challenges with handwriting, and when you come back to type it up, like, oh, what was I trying to do there? But I think the transition between the notes, handwritten notes, to the laptop kind of helps you think and edit a bit more clearly, but it does for me anyway. And I've had
Mm-hmm.
times before when I've typed it into the laptop as I've edited it, but I've looked back at my notes. My notes are better than what I've edited when I've transported it to the laptop. But there's
Okay.
another writer in my writing group, Alison. She's the same as me. She's got to have a notebook. She has multiple projects on the go, so she has a notebook for each book. We're quite the same. We quite like to draft, but there is tablets you can get. I can't remember the name of them, but you can handwrite on
It's
them,
called
and they.
Remarkable. Yeah, I want to
Yes,
get
that's the
one.
one. It's not been on my Christmas list for a while. Yeah.
I come and go with it. I'm like, when I see I have some people at work using it for like business notes and like diagrams and stuff,
Okay.
and I'm like, oh, I need one. But then
Yes.
I'm not actually sure I'm going to use it that much. That's my problem. I don't
But
know.
if you like to handwrite, it could be ideal for you to be able to handwrite and
Maybe.
translate it then onto, because I think they translate to a Word document. So it would speed the process up if I was to get one. But yeah, we'll see if I do ever get one for Christmas.
Well, yeah, if you do tell me how it goes, because I'm really
Yes.
curious if that's actually going to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, hopefully.
Actually, regarding that, I wanted to ask, since like the typing part is not your favorite and you prefer something from your brain to well, paper, did you
Yeah.
try dictation?
I have tried it, but I think the accent gets in the way, the Welsh
Ah,
accent.
it doesn't recognize
So
well.
yeah, it's not awful, but it is ultimately quicker to just type it up. It is technology. I think it's called Dragon software, and it does
Hmm.
train to your voice and to your accent, but for me that would probably
Still
slow
not.
down if I waited to dictate, but I could potentially invest in that and dictate. It's not something I'm against. I do really find so on Microsoft Word they have a read aloud function. I find that an invaluable tool for when you're editing, because you can just pop it on when you're doing the dishes, and it's really good to hear any mistakes or any missing letters when it's reading
Hmm.
aloud too. So I like it the other way around where I can listen to it.
Okay.
It's a
I
good tip for
actually,
anyone editing.
yeah, for dictation, I think I heard some podcast, I don't remember which one, but they were saying that Dragon used to be like the only Dragon, what? Dragon something?
I think it's Dragon Software, something like
Maybe.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it used to be the only one, but now literally everything has a dictate button in it. Like I use
Yeah.
Scrivener has a dictate button in it, and I think Word as well. Like,
Word does have one. That's the one I've kind of experimented with,
yeah.
but with the accent, it didn't transpire. So
Yeah, I think it takes training both in how to dictate. I think in some software you have to do like open quotes, open double quotes, then like comma,
yeah.
period, and all of those. You have to pronounce them. In some of them you don't have to. So yeah, you have to just train yourself. I really want to try it,
Yeah.
but I think the thing is, I don't think it's gonna be in the beginning. At least it's gonna be a pain because I can hover with my fingers over the keyboard for a solid minute before I write something. So my dictation is gonna be
Yeah. I think a lot of people do have that kind of issue. And I think if you're a new writer, especially, you're kind of getting into that writing mindset. So just training your brain to do that at the start is like a lot to learn. And then to be able to do it into a book. So I think it might come at maybe a later stage. I know a lot more experienced authors do rely on dictation and they'll just go for a walk and write a book. I don't think I'm at that stage because, like you, I still stop and pause and think, what do I do next? Does
nah.
this go?
If I go
And
for a walk and try to write, I think I'll walk into a
yeah,
lantern or something easily. Like I am already quite disoriented in space if I try to do something else. And but now I'm thinking that like I don't think I can write anything like beautiful prose while I'm just talking and whatever.
yeah,
But I did a draft zero for the book that I'm like the big one that I'm currently writing, and that
awesome.
one doesn't need anything beautiful. It just needs to be like he said and then she did and then like it needs to be just like
Yeah,
I'm talking to
yeah.
someone and I'm telling them what's happening. And for that, I think dictation might work actually super well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely will. I think when you're trying to kind of add beautiful prose or you're trying to make your writing sound incredible, it's really difficult to do that if you haven't got the bread and butter, the basics down first. Like I always kind of add those little bits in after, or if I'm like walking somewhere or doing something and I think of a sentence that is like, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful sentence. I think, oh, I know where I can put that. So I'll try and think of the kind of really nice bits of prose and other nice ways to say things when I'm not writing, because I think it does take away from you getting that story down on the page, which is ultimately what you need to do first.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the first draft, the second, and then you self-edit.
Yeah.
And what other kinds of editing do you do for your books?
Yeah, so after the third draft, like the third kind of edit, I'm usually fed up with reading it.
I can
So
understand.
it's time to hand it over then. So I do workshop like little scenes in the writing group if I feel like, oh, I want a little bit of input on this. But as soon as I've done the third draft, like the self edit myself, I then hand it over for editing. So I do hire a professional editor to do the developmental edit. So looking at the overall story, plot, character development, etc. And then it'll come back to me to make whatever amendments. I've been very lucky. I had one developmental editor from America and she was brilliant. And the second one is Dan, the one who's given me so much advice. But both of them have come back with not many big developmental edits. It's been really encouraging and reassuring to have, oh, yeah, no, the story is solid. Yes. So I think I'm quite good developmentally, but then the next stage of the editing process is then copy edits. And I think that's where I kind of, that's not my strongest suit with the grammar and the punctuation and how to grammatically do things. And I've learned so much from that copy editing process. And there's things like dangling participles is a running joke in a writing group because I still can't wrap my head around them. But there's so many different pieces of writing craft that you get to learn through that copy editing process, and things that I'm still trying to retain now to take forward in my future editing processes. So yeah, that's the copy editing. And then I make any relevant changes and then I'll have a proofread. So for the first book, I had one person proofread. But what I found was, because anytime you read a book or read a piece of work, it's really easy to spot the mistake. So I now have a couple of people proofread and they all pick up different errors. It's so bizarre. It's like some things one person will miss, another person will spot something else. So I found that to be really beneficial to have a couple of proofreaders rather than just the one, because your brains kind of just read over mistakes because you kind of autocorrect when you're reading. So I found if you have other people, like different people reading it, they're all reading from different perspectives, and it just kind of makes that manuscript squeaky clean then before it goes for formatting into a book.
Okay. Well, some people I know, they use ARC readers as kind of
Yes.
proofreaders, not like as a you have to proofread my book, but more in a sense of if you see any mistakes, please send them my way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's I think what I'm planning to do this summer, because I
Yes.
don't want to hire a proofreader for this one. I'll see how that goes. Maybe it will end
Yeah.
very badly. Maybe it will work. We'll
Yeah, so
see.
the advice I got was with proofreading, it's probably the only bit of the editing process you can kind of do for free if you know people who would be. I'm very lucky, I know loads of other writers and readers. So I don't hire somebody to do the proofreading. I do use the writers and authors who are willing to proofread for me. But for the first book, I did the proofread as the ARC campaign, like you suggested, like have the ARC readers just let you know any mistakes. But it was really awkward then with the formatting because all the mistakes they picked up, I had to go back and say, oh, people have picked up these mistakes, so it had to be reformatted. So this, for the second book, which is released now end of July, I've done the proofread first before the formatting, and then for the ARC campaign, I'm going to ask the ARC readers if they do pick up anything. I really, really hope they don't, because everything should be solid now. But if they do, they can let me know and we can change that then.
Okay. And you said that it
Yeah.
had to be reformatted. So do you format it
Yes.
yourself or you ask someone?
No, it's the so Dan, the one who does my editing, he does all the book formatting. He's very, very clever.
Oh,
I'm
that's
very
great.
lucky to know him. But yeah, there's specific book editing software that you can get. I think one's called Atticus, but I wouldn't. And yeah, so yeah, it's Vellum. Is Vellum the other one? There's two
Vellum.
different types of software. So yeah, he does it all. He worked in publishing and done publishing for years, so he does all that for me. So yeah, I wanted to avoid going back to him saying, "Oh, there's some more mistakes." Yeah, this time round, so I've tried to be more efficient with it.
Yeah. I mean, I I try to do it myself because I can't fathom like being an IT person to actually outsource formatting, something that I
Yes.
can technically learn myself, even though I've never done this before, but I think I can watch a couple of tutorials and learn how to do it probably.
Oh, well done. Well
I'm
done.
hoping. I'm
That'd be
hoping.
great.
I have Vellum. I have the trial. So the point with Vellum is that it's expensive, but
Yeah.
the trial is you can do whatever you want for free unless you want to publish it. So like as soon as you want to publish it, you have to pay. But before you publish it, you
Okay.
can play with it. You can like everything, all the features are available. You just cannot generate the actual like file from it.
The actual EPUB file to,
Yeah,
okay.
I think, yeah, just like the publishable version, you cannot do.
Yeah.
But you can format your paperback, you can format the ebook, you can put like little pictures there. I was
Oh,
playing
wow.
with text messages. Like it's super easy to make a text message there. There's literally I don't even need to write anything. It's a button there. You just click a button, choose the text, and you're done.
That's incredible. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Vellum's super nice. I think Atticus is I think it's much cheaper, or is it free? I'm not sure.
I'm
But
not
I
quite
think it's a
sure.
little like user experience is a little not as smooth as in Vellum. In Vellum, literally, you put a raw book in there. I put my like raw manuscript in there, and it already looked so nice. Like I didn't even have to do anything. You choose a
Oh,
style, and it's like, wow, that looks so neat. I can just publish it now.
you're making me want to have a go now.
You can, if you have a
Yeah,
Mac, it's only for Mac.
they're only for Macs. I think that was, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the downside. That's Vellum, that is, isn't it?
Yes, Vellum is
Yeah,
only for Macs, and yeah, you can just download it and just play with it for as long as you want. So
yeah.
that's what I'm doing now. I have it open actually now. I'm just like when I have
Oh,
5 minutes, I'm gonna go and like, oh, there's anything there here.
well,
A
well
tr-
done learning that.
yeah, I hope it's gonna work because I'm anticipating there's gonna be so many issues. But yeah, so you had it formatted for you by
Yes.
your editor.
Yeah, so I kind of had it all in with the package. Yeah.
So like the ebook and the paperback both.
Yeah, the ebook and the paperback. Yeah.
And did you say he almost also did your cover?
No, that's
That's
my
another person.
husband's
Okay.
bassist. Yeah, is a graphic designer, so he did my cover design. Yeah, so
Oh,
I have
that's
kept
so
it all
nice.
to people. Like, yeah, it's really lovely. It's crazy how many creative people you can have around you, and
I was just about to
until
say
you
you're
ask,
surrounded by so many
yeah,
creatives.
I am very lucky.
Yeah, that is super nice. So yeah, I really like the cover. It's so, I don't know, like it just gives you
Yeah.
this, I think it gives you this kind of women's fiction saga kind of feeling.
Yeah, yeah, I think it definitely does. And it was really important to me. Like when I'm watching movies or reading books, especially if it's a series, I love little Easter eggs, so like little clues as to like what can happen. And
Hmm.
I really do when I'm like reading a book for myself or picking a book, I will look to see if the cover has anything. Okay, would this mean this? So it was really important to me that it included like little Easter eggs. So when people read the book, because when I finish reading a book, usually I look back at the cover and kind of reflect on the book almost. So at least if anybody else does that, they can look at the cover and think, I know why that's there. I know why there's an aeroplane in the sky. So it was really fun being able to have that input and get the cover as lovely as it is, really.
Yeah, it's super
Yeah,
lovely.
very special.
Yeah. Okay, so you had it formatted, then I'm guessing you like decided to publish it on Amazon. You're in
Yes.
KU or not?
Yes, so Kindle Unlimited is
Mhm.
available in Kindle Unlimited. I don't plan to go wide yet. You can go wide to have your book kind of distributed in other
Uh,
places, but it's
yeah.
not something I'm exploring until the trilogy is done because I do have quite a busy life, working full time, children, family life. There's loads going on at the minute. So the kind of priority for me is to just get the three books out and do
Mhm.
as much marketing as I can with my available time and then maybe explore going wide or exploring different publishing avenues maybe, but it's my focus at the moment.
Yeah, you need to have a focus. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to do everything and gonna get stressed about it for no reason because it's unrealistic anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think for other people exploring Kindle publishing, Kindle Direct publishing, they do have a tool in terms of formatting built in. So a few other authors I know use it. It's Kindle Create. So you can actually format your book in Kindle Direct. So for anyone, if that might be a help too.
Yeah, if someone doesn't want to bother too much with like like I think Vellum's very good if you want to like I don't know about Atticus, I've never used it, but Vellum is good if you want to add little details like maybe
Yes.
like chapter pictures or something. If you really
Yeah.
want to do something like unique or at least pretty.
Special. I would
Yeah.
recommend the formatting done through one of those professional programs, but they
Yeah.
do have that
Then if
version.
you just have chapter name and POV character or something, you don't really need much for that.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, yeah, I think nowadays most of the romance books, yeah, most of them have like text messages in them. So if you
they
really
do.
want them to be formatted pretty, you probably need some tool like that. But I've also seen books where I think it was I know, okay, that was an arc and I think it wasn't properly formatted yet. So the
Oh,
messages
okay.
were just written out in a italics basically. Didn't
Okay.
It was fine. I didn't find it problematic or anything. That's how I write my text messages in my first draft, so I'm okay with it like completely.
Yeah, I do have text messages in my book, and I have kind of got on old school with it when it's to from text kind of written out. I haven't explored the formatting, but I think sometimes if you're with, like, if it is a print on demand, there can be sometimes issues with printing depending on the formatting. So there's the kind of camp for doing text messages and against the formatting because of the issues that can arise through it.
Yeah.
I'm not knowledgeable enough to know, so I've kept mine basic for the trilogy, and then maybe I'll explore it in other books.
Yeah, you always
Doing
have to
the
check.
proper screens, yeah.
Yeah, always have to check, especially I know that they make mistakes with the covers, they make mistakes with
Yeah.
like interior and stuff. So yeah, I always have to check. So, um, so you said you did have an ARC campaign. How did you find your ARC readers?
Yeah, it was really good. It was quite a successful campaign. I think the general kind of advice is that get as many readers as you can because not that many people actually submit reviews for you
Hmm.
or read it. But I think it was quite a small campaign compared to other people's, but I think I had 40 readers. But on launch day, I did have 16 reviews come in on launch day. So that was really, really good. And the readers that I did have were all messaging me and, emailing me to say, when's the next book? So, and currently in the middle of recruiting for my art campaign for book two. So all those ones who have left a review and have stayed in touch and really excited, they're all back on board. So that's amazing. I have got that little super arc team that really support the book. So, and I've had other people that are interested that really like the look of the book, and I've sent them copies of the first one ahead of the second book. So I think I'm up to probably around 40, 50 people who are
Hmm.
signed up again. So hopefully that might increase now. There's like 1 week left, but hopefully it'll be as successful as the last one, getting reviews on that first launch day to try and give a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, good luck with that, of
Yeah,
course.
thank you.
Actually, I think that might be something to discuss, but that depends that for like coming back to the people that read the first book
Yeah.
and asking them, do you want to read the second? Do you did you add like these arc readers to to your newsletter? Do you have a newsletter?
Yes, so I didn't for the first book. I was kind of against newsletters for a while. I do receive a
Against.
lot of. It was a personal thing more than anything because you do sign up to these, more of the larger kind of corporations, and you kind of get your spam marketed emails, and I just didn't want to be one of those people sending out spam
Hmm.
marketing emails. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do a newsletter. Nobody wants to see me spouting about my book all the time. So no, but then I kind of realized that I saw a few authors who like Instagram accounts have been removed or Facebook accounts have gone missing. And I thought, you know what, does make a lot of sense to have a newsletter where I can stay in touch with these people via email and I don't have to send them loads of information about my book every month. So how I've planned my newsletter, so I introduced one before the second book. I did ask those who I had the email addresses for the arcs whether they'd want to sign up. But with the writing group, we did do writing tasks. So I did give, instead of like email marketing for my book, I did give free flash fiction. So we did like a piece on Valentine's. So I did quite a spicy kind of romantic piece. And I sent that out in my newsletter, and everybody was emailing back being like, oh, I want more of this story. So I use it to kind of just stay in touch, say hello, update on the books when there is news, and just give some free flash fiction for them to be signed up to my letter. But it's mainly to stay in touch, because it is really lovely now when people read your book. So being able to keep that connection going and through an alternative route other than socials is really nice.
Yeah, that's completely true. I know that it's a good marketing tool, but it's
Yeah.
also like I would say as a reader of newsletters, for example, I am signed up maybe to like 50 different authors.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't read all of them because
No,
how it happens is you see, for example, freebie from an author.
that's it.
And yes, so you click on it and it tells you by like you get this freebie, but you also like sign up for the newsletters. Well, sure, no problem. But
Yeah.
then you start getting emails from this author, and I noticed, for example, that either I didn't like the book or I don't care, or like I just never opened them, and
Yeah.
then I unsubscribe. And
Yeah.
so I usually like filter them a lot, and then
Yeah.
the ones that actually write something that I open and read are the ones that stay, and that's
Good.
never that's like, look my new book. Sometimes, yes, if it's an author I really like, but it's often just, I don't know, something funny, something that happened.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
yeah. And it's almost like another little social media post. You know, you like the social media post, you like the newsletter. And Olivia Fleur, I think I pronounced it. I think you've had her on the podcast before.
Yes.
She's got a fantastic newsletter. It's just an old-fashioned quickie. I love it. It's so funny. I got to open it each time she sends it. But I think it is important to connect with the readers and not treat them like your market, if that makes sense. It's not for that. And I think it's a really good way of giving them special gifts for being like your bookish community. So for the second book, I when I did the cover release and the blurb release, I sent it to all the newsletter fans first so they could have a look and get in touch and they could sign up for arcs first, and it's just to give something back to them for their time, really, because their time is just as valuable as yours. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that was why I sorry I
Yeah.
think that's why I started to do the newsletter. I kind of changed my perspective on it. So it's not email marketing, it is that way of staying in touch.
It is, I mean, yeah, you can still from time to time do it in a like, yeah, don't forget, I have this book or I have a deal on the other one. I think I like it when authors put other authors in their newsletter. So, like, oh, my friend has this new release or has a deal, and like, look at it or something.
Yeah.
I like a bargain. So, I open the emails where it says 3 freebies in one email, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get that.
Nice.
So
Yes.
yeah, this is what authors like 2, 3 authors collaborate together and they're like, oh, let's make these books like free for a week and let's advertise on all of our newsletters, and that's how you get new subscribers and new readers.
It is. Doing newsletter swaps is really good. I did do one with Tara Rosewood. She's a fellow women's fiction author, but she kind of gave my book a little bit of a spotlight in her newsletter. I put mine in hers, and it was really nice to see that people were clicking through and taking a look at it. Because if you do write in the same genre, you're going to have the same readers, and like you said, you do want to find new books. You know, the author can't release, some do release loads of books per year, but you do need other reading material. So it is nice to slip it in now and again, as long as it's not every email, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I don't know, I'm really excited to do one of those. I really want to do like a newsletter swap,
Yeah.
and also something like maybe, they do these like author takeovers in other authors'
Yes.
Facebook groups or like in readers' Facebook groups. I watched so many historical authors. There's like, today we have this author takeover, and like a whole day they do different posts about their books, about their life, and like other things. It's also very
Yeah.
fun. But that would
Yeah.
mean I will need a new Facebook account. I'm on Facebook as me, as not this name, as my actual name. And
Okay.
so I would need to create a new account because
You'd
I
need
didn't
to create.
bother. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't bother. I have an Instagram. I have two Instagrams, like a personal one and an author one.
Yeah.
And I have TikTok. And then I'm like, am I gonna make another Facebook? No, I don't want to. But now,
No.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's really tricky with social media platforms to kind of, you can almost burn yourself out trying to post everything on every platform to be there. It almost dilutes it. So I am on Facebook as an author and I'm on TikTok as an author, but I don't use them. I've kind of got a post saying, please come and see me on Instagram. I prefer the Instagram platform.
You
Definitely.
don't have to do everything. You can focus on 1, 2 things and do them well.
Yeah.
I know that Facebook works well for a lot of people actually. Not maybe
Yeah.
everybody likes it, but for example, if you write something spicy, there are a couple of groups on Facebook that accept self-recs. So like if somebody's asking for something that sounds vaguely like your book, you can always
Yeah.
just slide in and try to
Yeah,
rec.
I do use Facebook for that, but I found a lot of the groups and the pages, they won't allow, because my Facebook page is like a Facebook page, not like a person, if that makes sense. So they
Mhm.
don't allow pages to be added to those groups. So I find myself using my personal one to kind of self-rec on those posts in the groups that I'm following. So I'm still there, just
Yeah,
as
why
me.
not? Why not?
So I do try and kind of tap into that, and there's, loads of reading pages which I get involved with as a reader as well as an author.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do use that typically, but Instagram is my main kind of author account, the one I focus on.
So we kind of like went into marketing little by
Yeah,
little. So you use
sorry.
Instagram mostly. I mean, you use the
Yeah,
newsletter and you use
yeah.
Instagram mostly. Like, what is your strategy there? Like, what do you do for marketing?
I'm still trying to figure it out in all honesty. So I think marketing, I think it's really fluid. I don't think you can have kind of one tactic and it'll just work. So I'm still kind of trying to suss everything out, and I try to make sure my content is relatable to readers, stuff readers wanna, and it's kind of hit and miss really. Sometimes things you don't expect to take off will be liked and engaged with by a lot of other people, but then sometimes you can think, oh, this was really great content and nobody will watch it. So I'm still trying to figure that out. I think the main focus for me is getting those followers who are interested in my book, interested in me, and want to follow me to my newsletter predominantly so I can stay in touch.
Mhm.
But I do like the whole kind of branding thing. So I do have my bookmarks with the QR codes for book events, and I'm trying to
Mm.
like look at the branding side of things. I love all that kind of stuff.
Where were
So
those yesterday?
my bookmarks, so they were in my bag, but because there was not many bins by the woodland stage, I popped my empty drink, but there was still a bit of water and it spilled all over the bookmarks. So they all
No.
got soggy. So I couldn't give any out yesterday.
Oh, damn it.
I did try to bring some bookmarks along with me to give to people, but yeah, it failed.
It's all right.
And things like business cards as well. I've run out of those. I need to order some more business cards, but I do like that. And again, it is, I think, the most important marketing kind of techniques is to network with people and
Yeah.
connect with people. So that's where my focus is really, is getting to know more interesting people, more creative people, and yeah, network with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's kind of like yeah, there are different sides, as you said. Like, you can be super active and pushy on TikTok if you want that, if you
Yeah,
like that, and that probably will bring you the results. But you can also do kind of a softer kind of marketing, and also it depends on your goals. It depends on,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and I know there's like I follow the Kindlepreneur. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but
Kindlepreneur.
there
Yeah,
are
I think
kind
so.
of tools like the Publishing Rocket. So I'm looking to invest in that because there's all sort of things you can look at with Amazon
I was looking at
algorithms.
it.
And yes, I'm very keen to get it because the keywords can change on like a monthly basis, and it's all to do with your rankings. So
So does
yeah,
that mean that
yeah.
you can go back and change the keywords on your book
Yeah,
while it's out? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, cool. Yeah. So I think I don't know how often they change, but they do change quite frequently, and it'll kind of recommend and it'll show you what kind of keywords people are clicking on for you to be able to adjust if
Hmm.
that does apply to your book. I know other authors have also looked at it to see what is selling, to see what they fancy writing.
Makes sense.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I think that's my next step in marketing is the actual kind of algorithms and how it does work in online sales. And in terms of like physical kind of, if I've gone to book fairs and things, I think the thing I like to do is I hardly stand behind the table. Sometimes people miss me because I'm always in front of the table talking to people. I prefer to kind of be the other end of the table and really talk to people, you know? So I
Hmm.
think it is just about being personable, being yourself, and yeah, just getting to know people really.
Yeah, so I think you like talking to people and
Yeah.
talking about your books and stuff. Some people are maybe just not into this kind of thing. They would like to be just
Yeah.
behind the camera or without like even showing their face. So it really
Yeah.
depends on, yeah.
It does. It does. Yeah. And even then, I think there are some small actionable things, and there's loads of great advice that you can kind of get if you are more of like an introverted person.
Yeah, I think TikTok is very good if you're introverted because you literally like you don't need to do silly dances or anything.
Yeah.
You can just post quotes, hooks, whatever, like whatever from your
Yeah.
book, and it's gonna work with a like a background picture, not even of your book. You can take a little video
Yeah.
of a candle. What is it? Burning. That's the God, forgot.
Burning. Yeah.
Glowing, working. What is this word? Of a
Burning.
yeah of a burning candle, and put like quotes on top of that, and that's gonna
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah. Actually,
Sometimes.
something I heard yesterday from the first author, I'm so sorry, but I forgot her name. The one that you brought me to listen to on the
Yes.
campfire.
The gaining a following supported. Her name is Holly. Her name was Holly. Holly June Smith. She is.
Oh, what I remember her saying is that she has at least two TikTok accounts, and they
Yeah.
post different kinds of content. It was super hot, so I didn't ask, but I wanted to ask, like, why can't you post different kinds of content on one TikTok account, for example? Why don't you, why do you have
Oh.
to like create two out of those? Is that better or what?
Yeah, I think it's to do with the audience. Like some people will like the content that is kind of faceless and like you said, like the videos with the candles burning with just words over there. And some people like to connect then with something more visual, like people doing silly dances or so I think I guess it kind of accommodates both kind of audiences, ones who want to
Hmm.
connect like with the person and one who wants to connect with the craft and the material, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. That's the
Yeah.
only explanation I could that's what I
Yeah,
kind of
I'm
thought.
thinking about it now, and like I'm a data scientist, so like from the data perspective and an algorithm perspective, probably being consistent with your content would send a very, very clear message to the algorithm of what kind of account you are and what kind of audience you have. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense now.
yeah, I don't know if that's right, but that's what I thought when she said she does it too.
Nobody knows what's behind that algorithm,
No.
but yeah. Okay, well, now you've got the new book coming out in July, right?
Yes, July 5th. So the title is Serendipity Valley, How It Could Be. So what the first book is How It Begins, so that is how the story starts out.
Mhm.
The second book then is How It Could Be. So the characters are faced with those big life decisions in terms of careers, friendships, relationships predominantly that will set them on that path of life into adulthood. And the third title then, I'm currently working on that book while all the editing and things are being
Mhm.
finalized. So the third book is How It Turns Out. So it's how the characters' lives have turned out. And it does introduce then the children, the next generation, and you can see how things are going to pan out and what directions they're going to head in based on their parents' decisions. So yeah,
Yeah,
very
that
apt, I
sounds like a
thought.
lot of fun. That sounds like a
Yeah.
lot of fun, actually. Since it's women's fiction, so then we're not talking about romance. So there will be romance there, but it's not
Yeah.
guaranteed to end well, right?
Yeah, so with women's fiction, I think it's a very wide kind of spectrum that it's really hard to kind of zone in on because predominantly I thought I was writing a romance book until I was going through the editing stages and the advice was do not market this as a romance.
Okay.
Because romance readers do tend to, like you said, they get very passionate and very upset if there's not the outcome that they desired, if there's not that happily ever after. Now, in my book, there's not, it's really hard with my books because there are a few twists and turns in there, and it's difficult to talk about them without giving them away and spoiling that kind of reading experience. But in my books, I would say that it's not a negative ending. I don't think anyone's upset by it, but I think the emotion I try to kind of that readers tend to feel when they read the book. It is like a real big emotion and they're either drawn one way or the other with it. And it is
Mhm.
down to the reader and how they perceive the ending. I didn't write it as a it's not an unhappily ever after
Yeah.
ending, and neither is the second book, I don't think. But readers are always either, it's almost in a one camp or another camp in terms of characters because a lot of my writing is love triangles. So it is a kind of Team Edward, Team Jacob scenario where you can
Mhm.
either kind of, oh, this is what she should have done. Oh, this is what she should have done. What are you doing to me? And the second book, a really good friend of mine read over the manuscript after I had edited it before I went off for official edits. And I was speaking to her about it when we were out, and she was like, when I was reading this one scene towards the end, she was like, I was like, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? And she got so passionate about it. It just really reassured me that it's that good tension, really. It's that really good tension you feel like when you can see a character is going to go one way and you're just like, oh my gosh, oh, what are they going to do? And it's, I kind of wanted to mimic real life in a way because in life you do have those moments where you're like, what do I do? Where am I going to go? And if I do this, and you kind of overthink. But then when you're there doing the actions and you're feeling all those feelings, I wanted to portray that in the characters because that's how people make choices in their life. They go off their gut feelings, they go off their emotions, and I wanted to translate them. So I wouldn't say that they're sad or there's not any negative outcomes for the characters from my perception, but depending on somebody's personal experience, they might lean one way or the other.
Mhm.
But I think that's what women's fiction is about. It is about a woman's emotional journey and the kind of expectations on them from society to behave one way or another, make this choice, make that choice as a woman, and how we're meant to behave and act, really. And yeah, it kind of just falls in step with that, I think, because it is about growing into yourself as a woman and making those decisions for yourself, really, not being swayed by what you think should happen or do. Yeah, lots and lots of stuff to unpack.
Okay, I love romance for the clarity that at the end you're gonna get a happily ever after, but also like having the point of any story is to like cause an emotion, and
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be the same emotion in every reader. So what you can do like with women's fiction, you can have someone be happy for a character and another person be sad for the same character at the same point in the story based on their personal
absolutely.
experiences. Especially like I mean love triangles, yeah, okay, that's one example, but like just having any kind of uh sort of like a camp, like a division of your readers. One is
Yes.
like team this and the other is team that. That's like, I think it's like a dream for an author, right? Like people
Yes.
arguing about different outcomes. Did you have that with some of your?
I did. So
Okay.
for book one, a few of the arc readers and a few readers after that have been, yeah, that it's been incredible to see how different people have reacted to the books as well. Because some people are like, "Oh my goodness, that should have happened," and "Why did this happen?" Whereas other people have messaged to say, "I'm really glad she did that. Like that's ridiculous, and this she should never go near this person ever again." And it's been really like conflicting. So those two camps have happened for the first book, and I think they will potentially for the second book as well, because it's a kind of continuation. I can't give much away, but it's been really nice to see like readers have come back to say certain characters remind them of other people, and just the different experiences. And I think for me, what I wanted to convey with these books, it's all about life decisions and those what ifs, because when you're making decisions with your life, I think everybody says, oh, on your deathbed, what would you have done differently, or what would your regrets be? And I think sometimes you can make decisions, and at the time they might feel like, oh, should I, shouldn't I have? But then things will happen in your life and you'll realize, I'm glad I made that decision. And it can kind of almost have the reverse effect where you can kind of, and I wanted to give that to people, that kind of reassurance that, yeah, if you decided to put yourself first, that's helped you out this way. Or if you did decide to put a career before something, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to regret that later on in your life. It can have positives as well as people looking back maybe more from a negative viewpoint. So I wanted to kind of really explore those different lenses of how people look at their lives in general, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely get it. You can do that with romance, but I think maybe in women's fiction you have a bit
You have
more
more
of
of a
a,
range.
yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
because you've got the career choices, you've got friendships. In the first book, it's really prominent. So there's two main characters, Jenny and Cam. They're best friends, but they're boys and girls. So really wanted to lean into that, because I know so many people who have like a boy as a best friend, and it's always presumed, oh, they're going to fall in love and they're meant for each other, but they're just best friends. And I kind of really played with and teased with that quite a lot, because there's something like I have male best friends and I know what the girls have, and there's always that, oh. So I've really tried to really tease in and zone in on those issues that kind of affect people on a real life basis, really.
Yeah. Yeah, now that I think about it, I don't think I can handle something like women's fiction, unless it's a very short kind of story. Because
Yeah.
I have enough fire to write a romantic arc, but I think women's fiction might be a bit like kind of complex for me in terms of like I would really have to be, and there's too many opportunities. There's like so many
Yeah,
different things you can do.
they
It's
are. They
amazing,
are.
but it's also scary at the same time.
It can be, but my book, so when I've had really positive reviews and feedback, it was really short, it was short chapters, and this surprising how much you can kind of squeeze into a book. And sometimes
Hmm.
I've written things in, and some people have not realized, they've just kind of read over some of the little things. I think it's anything with literary books and fiction. Some people will lean into things if it's relevant to them and just completely
Yeah.
ignore it if it's not. So I try to sprinkle things that I think are in there, but people will take from it ultimately what they want. So yeah, it's just an experience, isn't it?
Yeah. I cannot let you go before we talk about writing advice since I ask that from
Yes.
everyone. Yes. So as usual, a piece of like the best and or the worst writing advice that you can offer, well, or dissuade people from.
Okay. So the best piece of advice, I don't follow it anymore, but it really helped me with my first book was an author said to me that just write for 15 minutes a day. And that's the advice that got me through the first book. So I would really recommend that. And I think more than just the 50 minutes, like if you can't do the 50 minutes a day, because sometimes I'm not able to, I think it's the idea that just always keep it in your mind that you need to schedule that time in for writing daily or as soon as you can, really. So it is just keep writing at the forefront, really, of your mind and make sure you do prioritize some sort of time to get those words up because you'll feel a lot better for it. I don't think I've can think of a bad piece of advice really that I've had because which is not a bad thing, is it? But I
Yeah,
think yeah,
it's totally like I usually ask and or because some people would just go straight with like advice that they want to give to other authors, and some people would be having like more reaction to the worst one, and they'll be like, oh, I've been told, for example, follow this word count every day or something, and that's a horrible advice. And so just the advice that you are most kind of that you have most emotion about, whether
yeah.
positive or negative, basically. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it is just make sure that you do make time for your writing because the days can slip by and it takes so, so long to write a book
Yeah,
and publishing and editing.
and I can just add that this can look like a lot of things. You framed it as 15 minutes a day. For me, I'm not doing well with timing, for example. I hate doing sprints because I will spend half the sprint doing something else, and then
Yeah,
I will write something. To me, it turned into write one sentence. It almost never is one sentence. It's almost in all cases it's more than that. Sometimes it's can be 1,000 words. Sometimes it can be 200 words. But sometimes when I'm super, super tired and I'm like, okay, I'm going to write one sentence, just one. And it's literally one sentence, but I wrote. That's fine.
you wrote, you did something. Yeah, you've made that time. And I think that's what any writer can do really is just commit that time, commit that effort, even if it is just one sentence.
Yes. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely something that worked for me recently, especially, and I think that should work for everybody because yeah. So write every day maybe is not the best advice, but
No,
it doesn't mean sit down for 2 hours and write every
no.
day. It means
Yeah.
just like even I heard someone say just think about your story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That because that's where a lot of my best ideas come from. It is daydreaming about the book and the scenes and what could happen next, and then it kind of makes me think, "Where's my notebook?" and I have to start to write. So
Yeah.
daydreaming is another really good one. I always daydream.
Yeah, yeah, that's very nice. I sometimes forget to leave time for that because I always try to keep busy. I wash no, I don't wash dishes. I have a dishwasher. Well, I cook. I have an audiobook in my ears. I like I don't know. I do the laundry. I also have an audiobook. I like not shower. I used to take baths and I would have a Kindle in my hands. But
Yeah,
recently I started like, no, I'm taking a shower now and there's going to be nothing next to me and whatever. And I'm just going to think about this like next thing that I'm writing or something. Because, yeah,
yeah.
otherwise I don't have time to even think.
Yeah, and I think with a load of writers are readers predominantly first, but I find it really difficult to read while I'm in a really big creative flow. So if I know, okay, I need to get this manuscript done, it's very difficult for me to read as well as write because it feels as if it's two different states for me. It probably sounds
Ah,
silly, but
okay.
yeah. So when I find that I stop reading when I'm writing, and then when I need a little bit of a pause from writing, I'll then pick up a book, and it'll kind of like spur me back on to do some more writing. So yeah, that works for me
Hmm,
too. I stop
interesting.
reading, and I don't watch telly.
You don't watch TV?
No, I kind of because of the schedules, I've had to forego watching TV as a hobby to get the writing done. I will,
Yeah.
like I said, like if I'm stopped writing, I will then catch up on a TV series and really enjoy it. But yeah, I try to kind of make my that time available for the creative side of it.
Yeah, I think, I mean, eventually you have to choose what things are that are important to you. I
Yeah.
have a full-time job, but I don't have kids yet. So I have a couple of hours in the evening after dinner where it's just me and my husband, and we do like a compromise. We watch something together, like an episode of something or a movie or half a movie, and then I get my time to do what I need, and he gets time to, I don't know what he's doing. So yeah.
Lovely.
But yeah, but I'm assuming that when I have kids, probably like something's gonna go.
Yeah, it's really tricky. Like I work full time with the three children, but then there's a writing group as well. So we do writing sprints online as well as the group. So I was trying to plan and fit everything in, and the children all have like extracurricular stuff that we got to plan for and prep for, and no night is or day is ever the same anymore. So it is free for all really,
And then
and
husband
just
is
grab
like,
time.
can you like put me in your schedule there somewhere as well?
But to be fair, because he has his band as well, like we've
Oh
both
yeah.
got really busy schedules. So it is really difficult to try and, okay, so this week you get to do band practice, this week I'm in writing group. It's a tangle of diaries, really. But we do like at the end of each night, like if I'm like at the time I'm not writing, I'll read and he'll play on his Switch or he'll be writing some music. And for the second book, I didn't kind of announce it because we're not going to be able to get it done for the second book, unfortunately. But we wrote a song for the second book. I wrote the lyrics and he wrote the actual song, and I was going to put a QR code in the back of the paperback so people could listen to a song that was a play scenes out to in the book, and he's very talented. This is a very good song. I'm not going to be able to make that happen, unfortunately, because of conflicts with schedules, but that's definitely a plan for book three to get two songs out for that. So we do work together on projects like that as well, which is
Oh,
really nice.
that sounds
Yeah.
amazing. It's like, putting a playlist into your book, but like on a whole new
Yeah,
level. Like I wrote a song specifically
it
for,
is. Yeah.
that's so cool.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah. A lot of the song is recorded, but it's been difficult to get the drum track and things recorded in time for the launch. But I am thinking of maybe doing like a special edition of the book two with that song in. And there's already a song for book three that feeds into the storyline as well. So yeah, big, big ideas for the book.
Yeah, that's amazing. My question was, who's recording? Is it your husband's band that's gonna record it?
Yeah, that's right. So my husband's written the songs, but he does always write the songs for the band. But the band weren't able to book in the recordings in time for this song. And yeah, with the other song they're gonna be booking in. We've got more time for the third book. So hopefully we'll get that done in time, but it will be performed by the band usually.
Oh, that's super exciting. Don't forget to like shout about it from all your socials and
I
newsletter and everything.
know. I've been really gutted because I've held off. I kind of stuck it in there on one of my newsletters and working on a collaboration because the timeline was so tight with them getting the music up because they've obviously got other gigs and commitments and
Mhm.
other songs that they work on as well. I didn't kind of shout about it, but I was like, it would have been so cool. And, there's a plans there for they could do a music video and it'll be like a book trailer for me. And
Yes. My
it's
God,
so
this is amazing.
exciting. Yeah, it's so exciting. But because it hasn't been able to happen just yet, it's on the back burner for a little bit. But it's definitely something we're still going to keep working on together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. This is super. This is the first time I've heard something like that, and it's really amazing. Okay. It's
I'm
really
glad you're
I
excited too.
yeah, I'm mostly like, I mean, my friends are creatives in some senses, but I'm mostly surrounded by nerdy IT people. So like we
Oh,
are
that's so
we are
lovely.
we are hiking, we are like playing video games and then stuff. And some people are doing some creative stuff. Like I tried to learn to how to play guitar, but like I gave up super quickly. I still want to do it, but maybe
Oh,
when I have
maybe one day.
time for
Yeah.
another hobby. Yeah, like I can't imagine how it is to just be amongst so many creative people all the time. Sounds amazing.
I am very fortunate, and it's surprising because in the valley we live, it doesn't always have the best reputation. Really, I think with Wales being such a small country and being attached to England and like in the
Hmm.
UK, it can. And there's a lot of stereotypes in Wales as well. With Gavin and Stacey, it's always kind of a comedy kind of when some people think of Wales, but when you think of all the creative people who come from Wales, and instead of just starting a writing group in the valley's brought at least 10 authors together that nobody knew existed. It's, yeah, I like to think it's a really creative place, and in my book, I based it on the valley because I wanted to showcase all those best bits. Because sometimes it's not represented as it actually is, and I wanted to kind of portray it in the way that I see it and in that positive light. Because I've had a friend come over from Chicago, and she's like, "Wow, look at all these mountains! It's beautiful." If people living here, they think of it's just a mountain. So
Just
it was
a
just to kind
mountain,
of
yeah.
bring that back. Yeah, just a mountain.
First time I saw mountains, I think I almost cried.
Oh,
I grew up in a very flat country. I live in a very flat country, a different flat
yeah.
country, but still flat. So whenever I go somewhere where there's mountains, I can stand at least for 10 minutes and in the beginning be like, oh my God.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was lovely because the developmental editor on How It Begins, she's from New York, and what the piece of the feedback she gave me was, I feel like I need to come to Wales now. So I feel like I did a good job
Yeah.
selling the country to people, you know. But yeah, you'll have to let me know if I ever want to visit Wales. Be happy to show you around some mountains.
I'd love to. I honestly, I really want to do like a big trip. I've only so far, I cannot seem to be able to go further than London. Like I come to London, I see my friends and then I don't have time to go anywhere else. Like we planned a trip to like to the sea once and we couldn't do it. And then like I really want to go all the way like through, I want to go to Wales. I want to go to Scotland and like I want to just like visit
Do a road
everything,
trip, yeah.
but I think it's more complicated with my husband because he hates the weather and like, yeah, so I really don't care if it's raining, but yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna need to.
it does rain quite often in Wales, unfortunately. But I think in the summer months you do have it quite nice. The weather can
Yeah.
it has been nicer of late. We have been having some sort of summer lately, so
Well, yeah, I think yesterday was like a culmination of a month of summer in one day somehow. I don't know. It was
yeah, that's usual kind of spring summer weather. But it did rain all day in Wales yesterday, even though I've got sunburn being in London. It's like
okay.
a different climate, and then it'll be raining in London and sunny in Wales. It's bizarre. And you can leave the house in the morning. In my second book, there's a piece in one of the chapters where the character's like, "What shoes do I wear today?" Because the car's frozen in the morning, and then by 12 o'clock it's sunny, and you're wearing sunglasses and wellies then to go home.
Well, it is similar actually to Belgian weather.
Yeah,
You need an umbrella, hat, sunglasses, and a jacket at all times
at
when you
all
go out.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you go out in the morning and come back in the evening, you might as well just take a suitcase with you because you never know what's going to
You
happen.
never know what's going to happen. No. So maybe, your husband will adapt if it's similar.
He's going to be fine. It's just like I keep reminding him, and like he does want to go whenever we see anything on TV or something. But we're planning move. So
It's
it's
time, isn't
always
it?
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so two things quickly before I let you go.
Yep.
First is, do you have any recs like podcasts or books, craft, like anything that you use to improve your own writing?
Yes, I do. I'm glad you asked me that question.
Yes, I almost forgot.
So, Write a Book is a
Oh,
really good book. So, Dan, the one that we except mentioned in my editing, these are books that he's written. But this one is really good. So, it's got really actionable advice in there for developing writing habits. So, how you stay motivated. And he's been really clever with it because it's all science backed research as well. So, you're reading and you're thinking, yep, I can do that. Yep, I can do that. And it
okay.
does really help in terms of motivation.
So what's the author name then? Dan, I cannot see
Dan
the
Parsons.
Parsons. Okay.
He's got like a creative business series. So there's another book, sorry, another one by Dan, but
Mhm.
it's Networking for Authors. Now, this is really, really good if you are more of an introverted person. Like a lot of the advice in here, I naturally find myself doing sometimes, so that was really reassuring. But it's got like these little quick guide chapters. So if you are like a really nervous person, it's got like a page with bullet points on what you should be doing if you are going to these author conferences or meeting new authors and like author etiquette. So anyone who can be anxious in those scenarios is very, very good.
Oh yeah, I
I
think
will
yes.
be taking one of these.
It's good for people who are anxious, as me, like I sometimes can be anxious about different situations.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have a reference like, yeah, oh, this is what I should be doing.
Yeah, and that's like how to plan, like just a general advice surrounding going to these events, what to
Mm-hmm.
expect. So it kind of gives you that insight into how kind of highly published authors interact and how to step into conversations if you don't really know the people but you would like to speak to them. It's really handy.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one, sorry, third one. So I don't know if you can get this on Amazon, but it's the emotional craft of fiction. So a
Mm-hmm.
fellow writer gave this to me. You can see he's got like loads of tab pages, but this is really good for really delving into the emotional side of writing. It's been really
Mm-hmm.
helpful for me because that's where I try to lean in myself. But it's got little writing tasks that shows you how or when you include emotion in your writing. So you can see whether you're adding too much or not enough and how to gauge. And I'm only 3 chapters in. So yeah, I'd really
Okay. Who's the
highly
author of
recommend
this one
this.
then?
So Donald Mass, I think it is
Okay.
quite an older book,
Yeah,
but it's very useful.
I will put everything in the description because
Thank you.
yeah, so that I can have it transcribed for me when you say the name so I can Google it easier. That's why I
Yeah,
ask you.
Donald Mass. I think that's how you
Yes.
pronounce it.
Okay, fantastic. Well, so the last thing before I let you go is remind the listeners about your socials or website, like wherever they can find you and your books.
Yep. So my books are on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle Unlimited as well. It's Serendipity Valley, How It Begins. The second book will be available in July. That's Serendipity Valley, How It Could Be. My Instagram account is Kayleigh_Evans_author.94. Complicated handle, but there's a lot of Kayleigh Evans.
A lot, yeah.
But yeah, and in on my Instagram page there is a link bio where you can sign up to my newsletter. You can pick up my book. So Instagram is the best place to kind of look at the minute. And there's also like an author's interview on there. So if you want to learn a bit more about me, you can check that out as well.
All right. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. Yeah, I'm super happy that I got to see you in person yesterday and that we got this nice episode recorded. It's been a while that we've planned it. It was supposed to be in the first
Yes.
season and now it's going to be in the second one. So thank you so much for coming in and good luck with your release.
Thank you.
Yeah, and well, come back sometime before the third book, I think, and then we can see how
Oh,
the progress
lovely.
went.
Yeah. And thank you for the podcast as well, because I am an active listener of it. And some of the
Oh,
advice the authors and yourself have given me have been really helpful. So thank you to you
oh,
too.
thank you so much. That's so nice. Well, have a great day. Thank you.
Andrew, thank you. Bye.
If you like what you hear so far, please consider subscribing and tune in for the next episode. If you have burning questions about writing you'd like to have answered, head to my Instagram page at kkalbabooks and leave me a message. Or use my email k.k.alba.books@gmail.com. If you'd like your favorite author to answer your question on my show, again, head to my Instagram or email me to let me know which author you'd like me to invite, and I'll try to get over my anxiety and do it. On the other hand, if you're an author who's published at least one book, traditional or indie, and you'd like to become a guest, well, you know what to do by now. Message me and let's get to know each other.